I am a consultant psychiatrist in Cambridge and also the clinical director for adult mental health services. I'm a keen proponent of recovery, and shifting the balance of power between patients and professionals is very close to my heart. During my psychiatric training, I had been seriously assaulted by a patient. It was an incident that left a mark on me. My personal experience of being at the receiving end of physical force has shaped my clinical practice and has also been a driver for PROMISE, which I co-founded with Sarah.
I have struggled with severe and enduring mental illness since my late teens. However, it was not until I was admitted to an acute ward at the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Foundation Trust in 2005 that I became much more interested in the design and delivery of services. This was because during my 6-month stay, I saw many things that could have been done differently. This exposure spurred me on to complete my Expert by Experience training in 2008. The course acted as a stepping stone to involvement in many different trust activities, which in turn led to national roles such as becoming a trustee of Mind. Further training at the Centre for Patient Leadership in 2013 empowered me to become an expert by experience with teeth. In June 2013, Mind published a thought-provoking report on physical restraint in hospital settings in England. Working as a trustee of Mind, I was naturally curious to find out what my local trust was doing to reduce reliance on force. I approached Manan the following month to learn more about the statistics and the trust's approach. We quickly established rapport, and our discussion sparked the ideas that led to the foundation of PROMISE in September 2013. The Department of Health report into positive and proactive care provided a further boost to our efforts.
So, a journey ensued. It was underpinned by the belief that force is incompatible with the vision of recovery. The entire workforce was empowered to reinvent the wheel and challenge the status quo to do things better. Over 200 initiatives supporting person-centered care and better patient experience were listed. Our patient experience scores of 90% plus are a testament to the creativity, imagination, and hard work of our workforce. Enhancing patient experience also brought down restraints by 40 to 50% compared to the previous year. Prone restraints have virtually been eliminated and only happen due to the patient putting themselves in the face-down position. Assaults on staff also fell by over 50%, showing what is good for patients is also good for staff. The insights, innovations, initiatives from the PROMISE journey has formed the basis of 4 frameworks. These include frameworks for safety, to nurture new ideas and innovation, for governance, and for leadership. Each is a day's training workshop.
PROMISE is an ambitious project with breadth and depth. From humble beginnings, we have come a long distance. Locally and globally, PROMISE heads a proactive practice knowledge network. Led by 5 founding members, Cambridge, Yale, Prague, Brisbane, and Cape Town, we already have over 30 contributors to our global knowledge network. Co-production is at the heart of everything we do, and indeed it's one of the PROMISE core values. Manan brings his professional expertise, but I bring an equally important lay and lived experience perspective. The alternative perspective has been central in delivering a caring response to all distress, irrespective of its height or source, as well as challenging the status quo. The way we work as a collaborative pair makes our partnership quite unique. We have a relationship built on trust and honesty, but importantly, it still allows room for challenge. All decisions are taken jointly, and the project is co-led in every sense of the word, with my opinions always carrying equal weight. This approach is mirrored in the entire project, with equal emphasis and steer coming from both a service user advisory group and a staff advisory group.
Working with Sarah, it has become abundantly clear that everyone's experience, whether patient or professional, is unique. There are differences at a group level, with perhaps patients experiencing the services in a very personal way, whereas for staff who are going into the same scenarios day in and out, a degree of desensitization is invariable. Even with patients, there is a whole spectrum of those who are experiencing services for the first time to those who have had considerable support. So the hill on which the person is standing dictates which perspective or angle they see and how large or small the issue is to the person. so personal experiences are crucial in the formulation of opinions, and they all add to the richness of co-production. One of the key insights from this approach has been that staff are often quite focused on doing their best in the snapshot they get of the patient when they are passing through their service. For patients though, it is a fairly long journey, and very few staff are able to grasp the entire journey and how care across the interfaces pan out. Co-production helped us see this elephant in the room. Working side by side with people who have had to walk the walk enabled staff to see how one change in one part of the journey, for better or for worse, has a whole host of ramifications elsewhere.
Our shared ambition and aspirations is more than the sum of its parts. We feed off each other's passion, which gives us a great deal more drive and energy than we'd have alone. We also spark ideas off each other. For example, when writing narratives, especially if one of us is struggling with writer's block. The Lion Within animation is a good example of a co-produced story. The fusion of our different perspectives enhances our creativity. Our grounded outputs draw on lived experience and clinical expertise. We function as a mutual support system. Manan has mentored and supported me, but I have also offered him encouragement. For example, when writing about his experience of being assaulted by a patient, which was published in The Guardian. Also, if one of us is feeling despondent or has had a setback, the other one can usually provide an injection of enthusiasm. In addition, we are modelling good practice and leading by example. However, we have very different styles of relating to and managing people. Manan can take a hard line if required, whereas I take a more conciliatory approach, which sometimes pays dividends. Initially, I was very much in awe of Manan, which was a legacy from all the years of being treated by psychiatrists, some of whom took a paternalistic approach. This made it more difficult to voice my opinions in the early days. However, with the passage of time, I overcame this. Manan often encourages and supports me to do things that take me outside my comfort zone, which can be challenging because overcoming anxiety is still a huge hurdle. For example, in November 2016, I'll be drawing on all my resources when I have to speak at the World Psychiatric Association Congress in Cape Town to 1,000 people. Stepping into a world of research and academia has been like climbing a mountain, and occasionally it feels as if I've been parachuted out of my depth. It's been uphill all the way, partly because I'm not academic, but also because my education was marred by dyslexia and interrupted at 17 by mental illness. Attending the World Psychiatric Association Congress will be equivalent to reaching the summit. Our working routine involves me being flexible, as we sometimes work in the evenings and at weekends. Manan, as a clinical director, is time poor, and our daily conversations are generally fitted around his commitments. So, for example, he typically calls me on the drive-in at around 8 o'clock. This isn't really a challenge for me, but I've included it because it might be an issue for others. Occasionally, we have to agree to disagree or reach a compromise. For example, my experience of acute care on the Cambridge and Peterborough Foundation Trust ward wasn't a particularly good one, and when I'm recounting my story, Manan will ask me to rephrase it because he's very loyal to the trust, and he also thinks that too much negativity makes staff defensive, but I want to say it as it was.
So far though, we have managed to work through our disagreements. We try and ensure that there is more light and less heat. Co-production and collaborative leadership is relational rather than transactional. It is inclusive of diverse points of view and is rooted in the belief that everyone has something to contribute. A shared purpose that is driven by values needs to be at the heart of delivering the desired outcomes. However, the process of how the group functions as a group or the pair as a pair is as important as the outcomes themselves. My experience of working with Sarah shows that although there are hurdles to overcome, it can be done. PROMISE has been awarded a National Award for Patient Experience, and content from PROMISE has been included in the WHO Quality Rights Toolkit. Others are learning from our creative partnership, and we are already recognized as trailblazers in this respect. We recently presented at the King's Fund 6th Annual Leadership and Management Summit, and have a busy year ahead, concluding with the signing of the PROMISE Charter at the World Psychiatric Congress in Cape Town. We are hopeful that you too would embrace collaborative leadership and co-production and benefit from this approach. If you have any questions or clarification or are interested in PROMISE, do get in touch. There are many ways to contact us, the easiest of which is to email promise@cpft.nhs.uk. Thank you.